Hello, welcome to the latest episode of Through the Pages. I have a really unique book to go over today from an author who I've had on here before recently, but not really in this fashion. So, today we're going over Blind Spot by Teju Cole. So, I recently reviewed Known and Strange Things from him, but got into his work from his novels, which are still my favorite of his works, I would say, both Open City and Every Day is for the Thief. These books are top notch. So anything this man puts out, I'm pretty much gonna grab. He has had one book come out that I have not gotten, Fernway, which is like Blind Spot, a photo book. So I don't know how much writing is in Fernway, but I was drawn to Blind Spot not just because of appreciating his photography, but because for every photo there's a section on writing, whether it's one paragraph, sometimes a whole page, sometimes it's a sentence, but in general, it was pretty balanced of like writing and imagery. And what I liked about it is that it was surprisingly fluid. So I've probably mentioned in here before where if books are kind of choppy, that it's hard for me to get engrossed in them, and I'm very aware of the fact that I'm reading where I want that to kind of fall away. I'm reading this book right now, The Probiotic Cure, it's so bullet pointy, and it just like, it's not doing it for me. And so I had gotten this knowing that's what it was, but it also kind of sat on my shelf for a little bit of like, but I really want to like dig into something, where I was kind of surprised. Basically every picture has a location. You can see there kind of, so easier to recognize, New York City. So there was a lot of places he went, and then there were some that he like had multiple photos from. So there was a little bit of consistency in that way, but then there was a structure to it. There was an order, and so there were times where he would like refer back to things, or even some is the same photo or same subject photographed a little later, or different exposure and that sort of thing. So it did have a little bit more consistency than I thought, and probably even more consistency than Known and Strange Things. I enjoyed Blind Spot more than Known and Strange Things, and this was very good. So like it was just it was like reviews of, I guess, all sorts of things, from like movies to like art openings to music. And so some would really connect, and just like the way he speaks is just so profound. And it's not like he's like a Pitchfork album review, it's not so like just right on the subject. It'll usually kind of like open up with something very personal, story, and then kind of weave into what he felt on this. And so the Known and Strange Things, not to delve too far into a different book, but was fascinating in the sense of like how kind of spectacular a review of something could be when you separate from the subject quite a bit and then bring yourself back to it. But what I liked about Blind Spot is that it was a little bit more universal, because it was on traveling or being a stranger in a place, but also just kind of personal experiences. And I mean, he's not even talking about the city in all of them. He might be talking about light or the way a street made him feel. But all of those are more universal than an event that never registered with me, don't know the person, don't know the work. And so like, I really enjoyed Blind Spot. If you have read any of his books, like, definitely worth picking up. Like, I know it's a little more costly than a typical book, but it is something where I'll leave it out on a coffee table and stuff like that. Like, the photography in it is top notch, and so I think that's what Fernway is more so. That was his last book that came out in 2020. He has 5 books, got through 4 of them, but I think Fernway, even just like the shape of it, it's big, and I think it's more photo than writing. But I do expect to see more writing from him, but he is just a renaissance man. And I love listening to his like talks, or just anything on YouTube where you hear like in long form, it might be like sort of book tour after one of these, or just in a panel discussion. But he's a voice in general who I really find soothing and intriguing, and I feel like I learn from it, and not so, direct in like the reading nonfiction sense of learning. He's just got a really sharp eye, and Blind Spot was a fantastic display of that. It's been out for a while. It came out in 2017. Originally came out in 2016 in Italian, and the name of it was Punto di Ombra, which meant the shadow point. So Blind Spot, the American translation, American equivalent of that. Hopefully I'll be reviewing more Teju Cole books on here. Hopefully more novels. I don't know if you look at this just trajectory of him, he's not aiming towards more novels, but we'll see. Everything goes in cycles, right? So Teju Cole fans out there, there's hope. But yeah, Blind Spot, man. And it's probably the most, no, I wouldn't say the most revisitable, but it's an easy one to just kind of like flip through again and again and enjoy. But yeah, if you haven't read any Teju Cole, let this be the push. Any of these books really are great. If you're starting with Teju Cole, I probably would do Every Day is for the Thief. That one just was a home run. But yeah, Blind Spot, very worth checking out. My first photo book I've reviewed on here. So we're breaking ground today. Thank you for being a part of it.